All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a really fascinating new preclinical study. It's looking at a surprising connection between a compound you've definitely heard of, cannabidiol or CBD, and the very complex mechanics of Alzheimer's disease. The results are pretty wild, but believe me, how it all works is even more interesting. So, to really get why this research is so important, you have to understand the scale of the problem we're facing. By the year 2050, the financial cost of Alzheimer's in the US alone is projected to be $1.1 trillion. That's a number that's almost impossible to wrap your head around, and it represents a huge challenge for society. You know, the disease is often called the silver tsunami. It's this progressive, relentless condition that impacts millions. And the tough reality is, after all these years of research, we still don't have a cure. So the hunt for new ways to even just slow it down is one of the biggest missions in medicine today. And this quote from the researchers really hits the nail on the head. They point out that what we have now for treatments, well, it's kind of like patching a few leaks while the whole dam is about to break. They mostly just manage the symptoms, not the deep underlying cause. And that's exactly why scientists are casting a much wider net, looking for clues in some pretty unexpected places. Which, of course, brings us to this study's new candidate, inhaled cannabidiol. Now, just to be clear, CBD is the non-psychoactive part of the cannabis plant. This isn't about getting high. Researchers just wanted to see, hey, what happens if we expose a brain modeled to have Alzheimer's to this stuff over a long period of time? So the experiment they set up was actually pretty simple. They took mice that are genetically wired to get Alzheimer's-like symptoms. Then, for 7 whole months, one group regularly inhaled a CBD formula while the other group got a placebo. The whole point was just to wait and see. After all that time, would there be any real differences between the two? Okay, so 7 months go by. The big question is, did anything happen? What did they actually find inside the brains and in the behavior of these mice? Well, the results were pretty striking. So the first major thing they found was all about behavior. The mice that got the CBD actually showed some big improvements in their cognitive function. They were just plain better at memory and recognition tests than the mice that got the placebo. And this slide shows you exactly what that looks like. These are heat maps from a memory test. See the top row? That's your healthy mouse. It's curious, it's exploring a new object. All that red and yellow means lots of activity. Now look at the middle row. That's the Alzheimer's mouse that got nothing but placebo. Way less active, right? But here's the kicker. Look at the bottom row. That's the mouse treated with CBD. It's exploring, it's curious, it's acting a whole lot more like the healthy mouse. It's a really clear picture of cognitive improvement. But it wasn't just about how the mice acted. When the scientists actually looked inside the brain, they found something else incredible. The CBD treatment seemed to reduce the amyloid plaques. You know, these are those toxic clumps of protein that are the hallmark of Alzheimer's. They're the gunk that clogs up the brain's wiring. And the proof is in the picture here. I mean, wow. Look at the image on the left. That's a brain slice from the placebo mouse. See all those dark spots? That's the plaque, just clogging up everything. Now look at the brain on the right, from a mouse treated with CBD. The difference is just undeniable. There are way fewer plaques. It's a huge physical change. So, okay, better thinking and fewer plaques. Those are amazing results. But for any scientist, that's just where the story starts. The next, and honestly the most important question, is how. What was the CBD actually doing down at the cellular level to make all this happen? This is where the whole thing becomes a real-life scientific detective story. The researchers had to start digging deep into the biology to figure out the mechanism behind what they were seeing. Okay, so the first key player they looked at is a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. The easiest way to think about it is like one of the brain's most important text messages. It sends the signals for learning and memory. And one thing we've known for a long time is that in Alzheimer's, the levels of this critical messenger just plummet. And this chart really shows you the impact. On the far left, you've got the acetylcholine level in a healthy mouse. It's way up there. Now look at the middle bar. In the Alzheimer's mouse, that level has totally crashed. But here's the punchline. Check out the bar on the right. In the mice treated with CBD, the levels of this crucial memory messenger shot back up. A huge boost in the right direction. But that's not even the whole story. The researchers found a second key player, and this one's really cool. It's a type of immune cell called an innate lymphoid cell, or ILC2. These are a pretty new discovery, and you can think of them as the brain's specialized border patrol, helping to keep inflammation in check. Now, what's so wild about these border patrol cells is that their location is everything. In a healthy brain, as you can see on the left, they're supposed to be in the meninges. That's the protective layer around the brain. But in an Alzheimer's brain, they get lost. They move to the wrong spot, an area called the choroid plexus. And this misplacement is linked to all kinds of cognitive problems. So the question is, what did the CBD do about this mess? Well, this chart tells us. It shows the number of ILC2s in the right spot, the meninges. In the Alzheimer's placebo group, that number is way down. But with the CBD treatment, boom, the number of these border patrol cells is brought right back up, basically guiding them back to their posts. And at the exact same time, it fixed the other side of the problem. This chart shows us the number of ILC2s in the wrong location. See that huge spike in the Alzheimer's group? Well, look what happens with CBD. That number gets knocked way, way down. So it seems like CBD isn't just bringing cells back, it's getting them to leave the place they're not supposed to be. So when you put all these clues together, you start to see a picture of a totally new way we could think about treatment. It's not just targeting one thing, it's about a whole chain reaction that involves the brain's messengers and its own immune system. And, the way they delivered the CBD is a big deal too. The researchers went with inhalation for some really practical reasons. It's not invasive, it could be pretty cost-effective, and this is super important, it lets you control the dose very, very accurately. So if we boil this whole thing down, the big takeaway is a potential 1-2 punch. This study suggests CBD might help the brain by 1, boosting the memory messenger, acetylcholine, and 2, literally course-correcting the brain's border patrol immune cells, putting them back where they belong. Now, of course, this is early stuff, but it is an incredibly thought-provoking finding. It really makes you wonder, could the future of fighting this devastating disease one day involve something as simple as a breath of fresh air?